Hi, welcome back to yet another video, and in this one, as I have teased before, there's a car out. In this one, as I have teased before, I am going to talk about my experience with applying for a fine art degree as an EU student. And I'm filming this intro because, well, mainly because I did my makeup and I had to do something about that. Why are you laughing?
It's cute.
And I had to do something about that. And also, because I messed up. When I was filming the speed drawing you're about to see, I set the camera on the right-hand side and I'm right-handed. So when I'm drawing, you can't really see what's going on sometimes because my hand is just covering it. And I don't know why I did that. Like, I know theoretically we're supposed to put it on the left. Yeah, I don't know what was going on through my head. Something just glitched in here. But lesson learned, from now on, I'll put it, no, wait, on the left-hand side. Not, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Anyway, as for the drawing, since I'm waiting out on a huge art supply delivery, which I'm like really excited about, I had to make do with what I had around the house, and I found some really cheap crayons, you know, the wax type that we were using when we were kids. And I was thinking, I like oil pastels, so how different can it be? Like, I'm just gonna do my drawing, blend a bit, whatever. It was horrible. It was a horrible experience. I'm okay-ish with how it turned out. I made juice somehow, but I can't say it is me. Like, the drawing that I did, it's not exactly my style because I couldn't get the crayons to do what I wanted them to do. And obviously it's my fault, like I wasn't used to the medium, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. You be the judge of that. I'm okay with how it turned out. Could have been better. Lesson learned. Got oil pastels now, they're gonna arrive soon, and I'm super excited for that. Anyway, till then, let's get started with the video. I was around 14 when I became a disappointment to my family after telling them I wanted to do art. To be absolutely honest, I don't think my parents were surprised one bit when I told them that, because art had always been the only constant thing going in my life. Like, I was always that kid that knew how to draw in any group circumstance, and it was obviously a very big part of my identity, and I'm sure some of you can relate. Even so, I never thought of it as more than a hobby, even though I had no idea what else I wanted to do growing up, until one day when I stumbled across a sketchbook tour on YouTube, which, granted, you wouldn't think it's the most life-changing experience, but for me it was, because that particular YouTuber was an art student. And I binge-watched all of her videos, and everything about the art student life seemed so appealing and somewhat glamorous, in my worldview anyway. And that night, I made up my mind that that was what I wanted to do. Now, there's no need to say that's a bit silly, because I know it is. Not a lot of 14-year-olds think about job prospects and stable income and pension plans, and certainly not me. In my mind, I always felt I'd figure it out with time and let future Alexandra worry about it, which, trust me, she's doing now, heavily. Anyway, my parents were super supportive, and because we never did much art in school, I had to take private lessons to work on my skills and eventually build my portfolio. Fast forward 4 years, I'm 18, in my last year of high school, and I still have no idea what to do with an art degree. But I knew that was what I wanted to do, and I'm a bit more enlightened now on that end as an adult, so no need to worry about me. But if that is you, and what deters you from pursuing a degree in the arts is not knowing what is going to open up for you, just remember that at the end of the day, it all comes down to how resourceful you are as a person. Fine art is a more self-directed path in the way that you don't come out of uni with a preset career. It's more about seeking out opportunities and connections. As to what you want to do after, that is entirely up to you to decide and for your family to judge around dinner table. Careers in the arts go from standard to niche, and it's up to you to get involved in whatever you're passionate about enough to know what the field comes with and how to get in there. I have friends who want to be teachers, others who are going into curating, publishing, creative marketing, and some who are going the freelance route. And obviously the ones who say fuck it and do something completely unrelated to art. So yeah, never forget that going into an art degree, you have to rely on yourself. On a more positive note, most people I've met in my year had no idea what to do when they started, or even halfway through, but got there in the end, so there's hope for all. Anyway, back to 18-year-old me. I decided on fine art because I was into painting and drawing and all that traditional stuff, plus that most unis seem to have a dual approach to it, as in wherever you want to learn art-wise, fine art will give you the resources for it. When it comes to the country, well, I already spoke fluent English and was lucky enough to be able to do it in the UK. And I know there are other countries where you can do an art degree in English, but I like the English approach to art, or at least what I knew about it at the time, which was that it's more liberal and open to experimentation compared to how I'd been taught art my whole life till then. Like the elitist prick I am, I picked the top 5 art degrees in the UK and applied to them and cried a lot when I got rejected by most of them. Looking back now, it would probably be wiser to look into the degrees and pick the ones that suit your needs rather than what the league table says, because that changes every year. Some things you'll have to consider are location and how that fits your budget, whether you want to go into a city or campus uni, what sorts of groups you fit in, what climate you thrive in, etc. The way you apply is through a platform called UCAS, where you'll initially need a personal statement and a recommendation letter from a teacher. Now, I'm talking as an EU student, I have no idea what you need to do as an English or international. Personal statements are way easier than you'd imagine, and if you want to apply for an art degree, I know it's going to be super tempting to want to make it sound all pretentious and edgy, but just don't do it. Be brief and be genuine about it. Next stage, they will ask you to submit a portfolio. Some of them will have special requirements, but most unis keep it simple and ask you to submit the works that most represent you and your practice. Now, this is where you put in your best work and where all those years of hard work come into play. Personally, it took me 1 year to put together a decent portfolio, and I had it ready by the time I applied to uni. Most unis will be okay with a digital version. For example, the portfolio that got me into Loughborough was a blogspot page. This means you have to take good pictures of your work, which is a very tricky one. Best I can say is you have to have the artwork parallel to the camera in natural light with a good device and a neutral background. The rest is down to luck. There was only one uni that asked me for a physical portfolio, which I sent in through a relative that lives in England and was kind enough to take it there personally. After this comes the interview. I only did one interview but ended up picking Loughborough over that uni. As for Loughborough, I got in without one somehow and I still don't know how that happened. Now, I'm not an expert in interviews, but what I gathered from the 3 that I've done so far, and successfully might I add, is that you have to be confident in yourself and your work and also not be very uptight and engage in a genuine conversation. Like, I don't know if these are legit tips, but even for the job I have now, the interview felt more like a conversation with a friend. Or scratch that, more like a conversation with a friend's parent, you know, the kind of polite but not too stiff chat with occasional chuckles, so not to seem too awkward. After all these, you hopefully get accepted by at least one of your 5 unis. They're probably going to give you a conditional offer based on the grades you get in your country's final exams. In Romania, we had the baccalaureate. I forgot what my condition was, but nothing too high. Some people get an unconditional offer, in which case, wow, that is impressive. Again, this was my experience. Some unis might be asking for other specific exams. Which brings me to something I almost forgot about because it happened so long ago, but if you're a foreigner like me, you'll need to sit for an exam that proves you have a decent level of English. Every uni tells you on their website what they're expecting, but generally most of them accept the IELTS with an over 6 score. The IELTS certificate expires every 2 years, so be sure it's still valid when you apply. They asked me for my certificate when I had to send in my baccalaureate grades in the summer before uni. UCAS is a fairly easy to use platform, and even though I can't remember much about it, I know that they guide you every step of the way and tell you what to do next. You just have to be organized with your emails and everything so you don't miss deadlines. I mean, that applies to anything else, but to this especially. Et voila, now you're a student and this is probably the last time in your life you'll ever be as excited about anything, so enjoy. I hope this video helped some of you in deciding whether you want to do art or not, or even with your application process. I remember being very stressed out by it, but what followed was 100 times more stressful. Regardless, it is your very first step into adulthood and it will make your life slightly easier if you do it right. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell me down below what other topics you want me to talk about. Now, I'm not an expert in interviews, but from what I gathered from the 3 that I've done so far, and successfully might I add, is that you have to be confident in yourself and your work and also not be very uptight. And recording an audio for my video. Nathan, can you please come in later? Thank you. Bye. And also, don't stay by the door. I know you're still there. Bye.
Bye.